I'm Baylen Hite from SummitCitySports, taking a look at our fan-voted poll of the SAC standings. Coming in at number 10, the Southside Archers. The Archers will look to improve on a 1-8 conference record from last season. Although not having the success they'd hoped for in the regular season, they did beat Leo in the first round of sectional play. After having some postseason success, they'll need to reshape the offense that lost many players to graduation last season. If they want to succeed in the SAC this year, head coach Roosevelt Norfleet says it's simple. WIN for his guys to be successful this season.
Well, one of the team goals that they set while we was in leadership meetings in the off season was win. WIN. That's what they wanted to do, and we discussed all the things that it was going to take to win. What we're going to have to persevere through, and those guys are ready to go. And they've done and lived up to everything we talked about. Going into this season.
Coming in at number 9, the Northrop Bruins. For Northrop to have a chance at their third winning season since 2000, their defense will have to keep points off the board. They allowed the most points in the SAC with 443 points. Head coach Jason Dorfler says it needs to begin on the defensive end for them to have success this season.
Biggest area of concern for us is playing better defense, and like I said, we averaged close to 30 points a game last year and only won twice, and that's hard to do. And we're going to try to play smarter football, and just tougher defensively. And, we were competitive in almost every single game last year, and in the second half of games. So we're not very far away, and a couple breaks here and there, and we expect to have a good year.
Coming in at number 8 on the list is the Northside Legends. The Legends will be led by new head coach and former St. Francis Cougar, Mike Brevard. Brevard will look off the field to find ways of success.
First thing is we're not focused on wins and losses. We're focusing on accountability. I'm going to get these players in the classrooms to buy in there first, and then we'll worry about the field later.
As Brevard will look to improve the culture off the field, on the field for the Legends, they'll return a healthy amount of starters on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Look for senior Jalen Lockett to anchor down the defense. Brevard looks to improve on the Legends' 1-8 mark heading into next season. Now at number 7, the Wayne Generals. Wayne was able to surprise many teams last year in the area with its talent. Although the record doesn't speak to that at 2-8, they'll have a lot to improve on heading into the year. With 3-sport athlete standout Craig Young and defensive end Darius Alexander, Wayne won't be sneaking up on anybody coming into 2017.
Discipline was a big thing for us in the past 2 years. We weren't able to get kids in the summer to work out. Weights was another thing. We have a strength and conditioning coach, Roy Repine, who has implemented a great program over the summer. And if we can be as strong, we've always been fast, and our coaching staff putting in our system, third year, kids picking up on the system, we can compete for the SAC.
Now coming in at the 5 and 6 position, it's a two-way tie between two schools, Bishop Luers Knights and Concordia Cadets. Starting with the Knights, they'll come in 2017 with one key addition, running back Jordan Presley, who transferred from Homestead where he broke a single-season rushing record of 1,700 yards rushing.
How do we have a balance, or how do we keep two athletes like that, make sure they're involved in the game as you're planning? That starts on the weekend. Actually, it starts well before that, what we're doing right now, practicing. We've got a lot of different ideas of how to get both those kids the ball. We'll never go into a game saying each kid needs to have the ball this many times, and it's got to be balanced. I'm of the belief if someone gets hot, you let them roll. So if one of those kids gets hot, that one kid might, any given Friday night, get the ball a little bit more.
Luers does come into the year with some loss, as highly recruited receiver Deshaun Bustle moved to Tennessee over the summer. Now on to the Cadets. After coming off an historic state championship season where they graduated one of the area's best quarterbacks in Peter Morrison, they'll need to build off the success from last season, and in order to do so, find his replacement. Head coach Tim Manningill says that will be the focus heading into the season.
We're looking for a quarterback this summer. We've got 2 guys who have sort of emerged as the leaders there. We'll make a decision on that probably the first week in August. I don't see it being a deal where we play 2 necessarily. We'll settle on 1 guy. I think both of them bring something to the table that's important. One of them has been in the program for a long time. The other guy's a new kid. Both of them are sort of pure drop-back passer types, as opposed to Peter from last year. He was a little bit more of a dual threat. But we're excited about what we have there. We think both of those guys can contribute to the team.
Now at number 4, the Carroll Chargers. Head coach Doug Dynan made one thing clear coming into the year. Leadership is deep with the Chargers in 2017. Dynan says it starts with senior quarterback Jack Miguel. Miguel will factor in for the Chargers this season, as well as track standouts Justin Becker and Cam Shank on the offensive side of the ball. This will be a new-look Carroll Chargers this year, as they lost a lot on both sides of the ball last season. The Chargers will look to youth to propel them into the SAC.
Probably the best leader in our program is Jack Miguel. Jack is an elite leader. He's our quarterback, and he's a guy that not only does it physically, but verbally and positively, every day pushes guys to be at a better level.
Now into the top 3 of the standings, starting with number 3, the Homestead Spartans. The biggest challenge for Spartans head coach Chad Zolman will be replacing their offensive line that graduated last year.
Our offensive line will be a bunch of new guys, but we feel confident that the kids we're going to put in there will do a good job. And, every coach, high school coach, goes through the same thing. You've got kids to replace every year, and that's part of the challenge, So we're looking forward to it, and this summer's been good. We've seen a lot of kids who've done a good job of preparing, and we're kind of anxious to see where we're at.
Outside of that, newly committed Northern Illinois Husky senior QB Jair Wright is to lead the offense, and senior Tico Brown will look to continue disrupting backfields, as he was second in the SAC last year in sacks at 11.5. If the Spartans can figure things out up front, look for them to have similar success to last season in the SAC. Now anchoring the number 2 spot is the Bishop Dwenger Saints. The Saints will be hit harder by graduation in the area than anyone this season. They'll lose QB Blake Pondishini, running back Amon Clark, and defensive end Frank Yanko. The cupboard isn't completely empty, with returns like wide receiver Tommy Steele and Bradley Black to help bring the Saints back to its 4A state championship level in 2017.
We hope defense. We always pride our team on defense. Offensively, we love to run the football, run it in a number of ways, whether it's power or whether it's option, and hope to be solid in the kicking game as well. So those are things that we talk about and preach all the time: is defense, kicking game, and offense.
Now with an overwhelming number of number 1 votes, the Snider Panthers. Head coach Kurt Tittman isn't worried about Snider's newly seeded 6A ranking. He believes they have what it takes to compete in the postseason. For that.
Well, I don't think the recipe is any different whether we're playing in 6A, 5A, 2A, whatever class it is. You have to continue to improve every week. You have to be fundamentally sound at everything that you do. I think once you get into the playoffs here in Indiana, you got to be able to run the ball in the playoffs despite the weather, and play good defense. And if we do those things, we consistently have strong leadership in terms of work ethic, we will progress to a point where we can be competitive once the playoffs roll around.
Yes, the Panthers lost some key playmakers such as Penn State's Matt Kippenhammer, but they returned arguably the deepest and most talented roster in the area, with defensive lineman and Purdue commit Lawrence Johnston, as well as Michael Haubert returning after manning the offense last season at the quarterback position. In 2017, look for the Panthers not only to challenge in the SAC, but come postseason, make a run for another state title. For SummitCitySports.com, I'm Baylen Hite.